Hey everybody, it's Gary Lucas. Let's adjust this little thing here. Okay, how are you? It's April Fool's Day, yeah. Always a good day for fol-de-rol and merriment of all sorts. And it's kind of chilly here in New York, breezy. The sun just popped out again, so I'm feeling in a good mood and inspired and... Yes, a little medley of this and that, but one of those first themes was Arthur Russell's Let's Go Swimming. And if you have read my new article at Please Kill Me, you can find some hopefully fascinating bits about Arthur interacting with the one and only Vin Diesel. I was friends with both these artists and put them together. Vin was at a very early stage in his career, and at that point he was Mark Sinclair. He later morphed into what became the action powerhouse Vin Diesel. And he was, a very, very engaging fellow in the neighborhood here. But I don't want to spoil the article, so you have to read it. And I think if you scroll down the timeline, you'll find it. It seems to have pleased the people at Please Kill Me, which is fine, which is great by me. It's gotten quite a number of look-sees in by various folks. And anyway, I think it's all about the essence of telling it like it was, which is something I really believe in. It's like far too often when you read accounts of this and that in the music world, you're getting it filtered through a lens, depending on who is doing the telling and for who. But I try to maintain a certain standard of my own viewpoint throughout. I insist on it. So I think you'll enjoy it. Check it out. And while I'm at it, I want to say that speaking of stuff that you might really find interesting, I was just sent a beautiful new vinyl volume of the work of Joe Strummer, one of the last real rock icons out there, one of my favorites anyway. And it's called Joe Strummer Assembly. It's a double album, beautiful collage in here. I don't know, you're seeing it through the mirror image, so I don't know if it's going to look like that much to you, but it's a handsome package. Jacob Dylan wrote the liner notes, and I know that Bob was a fan. His father, Bob Dylan, was a fan of The Clash. He went out to see him, I think, when they played in Milwaukee or Minneapolis. And anyway, I had the distinction of coming up with a line that became indelible for this band. And I'll just tell you a little bit about that. Back in the day, I did work as a copywriter at CBS Records in their creative services department. And there was not a lot there, honestly, that they used to hand me that I could get terribly excited about, being more on the Captain Beefheart tip and experimental music, avant-garde rock, etc., than mainstream pop music. But I got very excited when I heard the first Clash album. It was the summer of punk, 1977 in New York. And a couple of copies filtered back into the offices of the label of CBS Records, situated in Black Rock, which still stands at 52nd Street and 6th Avenue. It's a big granite monolithic building, and that's where the record company was housed for a long time. Anyway, I got my hands on this, and it sounded to my ears totally fresh and exciting, and that was the summer of punk. And I'd come directly from living for a while in San Francisco, where I did see some early manifestations in the form of concerts by Iggy Pop, with David Bowie playing piano, and also the Ramones at the Mabuhay Gardens. Very, very memorable up on North Beach District in San Francisco. So I was kind of thrilled by this new manifestation. I heard the Sex Pistols single also in that spring in San Francisco in a record store of Anarchy in the UK, and it sounded awesome to me. So I got my hands on this album, and I fell in love with it right off the bat. I took it back to an apartment that I was renting here in the West Village, or subletting, from a friend. And they didn't have the greatest stereo, but it just cut through the music and the emotion. It was so visceral and raw and beautiful. So I was a fan. Now, I can't say that, that was the sentiment shared by most of the other people I was working with at CBS, I think, didn't quite know what to make of it. And in fact, at their convention that summer, which I didn't attend, at that point I was a freelancer for them. I had an office space. They flipped a coin to decide what label was going to release The Clash and the other punk group that had been signed by, I think it was Maurice Oberstein in the UK, and that was a band called The Vibrators. And lo and behold, The Vibrators, which appeared in the UK on Epic, wound up on Columbia Records, and The Clash, which came out on the Columbia label in the UK, came out on Epic. But they didn't release it for a while. You know, they didn't think it was marketable. They didn't think the radio would play this music. So I think that was unfortunate for the band and their development, but anyway, they elected to bring in another friend of mine as a producer to give it a more of an American-sounding gloss, and that would be the late legendary Sandy Pearlman, who was one of the most brilliant people I knew, and so sorry he's gone. But Sandy had had success at that point with a few acts that he had developed, mainly the Blue Oyster Cult, who I loved. And I think the Dictators, maybe you've done the Dictators by then, not sure. But anyway, he got the assignment to go work with this band and kind of give them some sort of radio-friendly gloss to their sound. And he went to England, and I definitely have read a lot about that era. I don't think they were, you know, let's say, thrilled with the idea of being saddled with an American producer. There was a kind of an anti-American sentiment in the punk sector, let's say, at that point. They might still be over there in Old Blighty, but hey, as my wife is English, what do I know? So, anyway, he came back with a record called Give 'Em Enough Rope. And that was what they elected to go with as the first Clash utterance in the U.S. And they didn't like the cover first off the bat. Now, because the cover was taken, it was a collage of Mao Zedong on horseback going through the Gobi Desert, famous revolutionary propaganda shot. And they photoshopped in a dead cowboy from another a postcard that was called End of the Trail. A dead cowboy lying there with buzzards hovering over him. And the lettering was in a kind of fake Mandarin Chinese, give him enough rope. So it was like making a few statements politically on a few levels, which is what the band liked to do, particularly their manager, Bernard Rhodes, of which I have many stories. But anyway, they changed the cover. They tamed it for the U.S. release with the typeface and etc. And they put it out, and it did reasonably well. And they came to me because I was kind of the resident punk enthusiast with maybe one other person in the company at that time. Otherwise, they didn't really want to know about punk rock. And they said, well, we need a really good campaign and a good slogan. And so I was convinced that they were like, you know, the best thing going. And I still have a great regard for The Clash. And maybe they were at that time. At that time, I believed it. And I came up with a line which has been, bandied about for years, and that is the only group that matters. Although I think the first manifestation was the only English group that matters. Yes, we had some other groups there at CBS Records we were trying to promote, so I think the only group that mattered maybe was a bit exclusionary. So it was modified, but later it stuck, and there were posters that were made up with that slogan that were on sale all over. I remember seeing one on the corner of 8th Avenue and 6th Avenue in frames. I wonder how they got those posters, guys. I don't know. They fell off a truck, maybe, but I didn't get even though it was my slogan, it was the company's intellectual property by Imperial Fiat. So, well, anyway, if I had a nickel for... But that's wishful thinking on my part. I was proud to see it out there, and I really did believe it until I joined Captain Beefheart's band. And then I got in there, and I said, hold on, we're the only group that matters. I don't think that applies anymore. So anyway, here we go. I saw them a couple of times play. They were fantastic. I saw them at the Academy of Music in their debut. They packed the place. They were great. It was quite a crowd scene. They came back to play at Bonds, I think about 1 or 2 summers later, about the time of their 3rd or 4th album. And that was such a crowd scene and a Shrek. You couldn't even get down Times Square. I mean, if you were going in a vehicular kind of conveyance, it was absolutely blocked, and it was pandemonium because the Clash were playing 3 nights at Bonds. And I think their music still really holds up, and I was sorry when they broke up, but Joe was always my favorite. I think he was the heart and soul of the band. I like Mick Jones a lot, and Paul, and the 2 drummers they had in there. But Joe, to me, was it. So I was sorry when he left, but he did leave a good legacy of his solo work with a band, the Mescaleros. He did an appearance in a Jim Jarmusch movie. He was like pretty active, but unfortunately, I think, without the kind of head of steam the Clash had built up as a name, as a like iconic figurehead band, it was never the same, and that's sad about that, because sometimes it works the other way. People leave bands and their careers become even more pronounced in the world. But this is a really good double album. I highly recommend it, and if you do have a chance, check out some of his other music, because he did an epic version of a song called The Minstrel Boy that was used in the film Black Hawk Down. It's just haunting. It's actually, according to my friend Peter Stanfill, it's like the oldest pop song in existence in the English language. I don't know how he derived this formula exactly, but it's also known as the Maureen, and it was kind of an anthem during the Irish uprising in the 1920s, written by Sir Thomas More. So it's anthemic. I would sing it for you, but I don't think I could do justice to it. But anyway, check that out under Joe Strummer's name if you can get a hold of that soundtrack. And all right, that's it. Give this a little bit of a tune up. You notice I'm back to solo acoustic today. I try and mix it up. If you have a preference of acoustic versus electric, let me know. I'd be interested to get a show of hands here, or a head count. yes, that is Please Allow Me to Look at You Again. It's one of the most lovely and romantic songs from the 30s Chinese songbook of the golden voice of China, Zhou Xuan. And I love playing this song, both instrumentally solo and in the company of a great singer like Fei Yang, who I'm currently working with, going on, about 3 years now. And I want to draw your attention to a track on the new compilation. Here comes the commercial again. The Essential Gary Lucas, which is 2 CDs comprising an overview of 40 years of my career, 40 years playing in at least 35 countries around the world. And there was a lot of stuff I neglected to even include. It was tough to make a decision about what would make the cut. But anyway, the second disc, which is Solos, Rarities, and Collaboration, leads off with a version of Bob Dylan's great song, maybe his greatest, one of my favorites anyway, All Along the Watchtower, done Mandarin style, with Fei singing in Mandarin, and also her 2-string violin, the erhu, to the fore. And this track, I'm very happy to report, is getting a lot of airplay on WFMU. God bless them. That is the listener-supported radio station across the river over there. They used to be in Uppsala College. Now they have their own dedicated house. I don't know, is it technically Hoboken? No, but not far from Hoboken, almost within view of our view over here. And anyway, I want to thank Ken Friedman, who definitely has been playing it, as well as several other of their jocks. And we love to be on WFMU. Maybe when we can safely do it, Fifi and I will come out there and do a concert for you, because they have a great performance series at Monty Hall, where I played on one of their anniversaries a couple of years ago. Anyway, if you're looking for a good place to support, yeah, Lulu is agreeing with me over here. WFMU would be the place, and I know people who tune into them from all over the world on the web. I have a good friend, Yuliana Galitskaya, over there, living in London with her husband, who is an inveterate listener to WFMU, which just goes to show you good taste is timeless, and it's also limitless, insofar as like everything is pretty much now a touch away from your digits. And okay, glad I still got them here. Okay. Our love is here to stay. George Gershwin, the only hit he wrote that didn't have a bridge. One of my favorite pieces that I arranged for the wedding of my friend Glenn Kenny and his lovely wife. And, well, I guess that about wraps it up for today. Let's get a glimpse of the exterior out there. I don't know how well this is going to translate through the window pane, but we got them cleaned recently. Yep, that flag is flying. And it's a lovely day. I hope you have a wonderful day. I love playing for you. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on Saturday at 3 p.m. Bye now. Love you.